A very pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into O'Neill's Grill for our weekly Fan and Press women's basketball luncheon this week, as we're joined by the Dukes head coach, Kenny Brooks. The Dukes have wrapped up the regular season, and since our last meeting here at O'Neill's, the Dukes have won two more, defeating the Delaware Blue Hens 65-43 last Wednesday night. And then in the snow makeup contest, defeated the College of Charleston 76-46 last Saturday afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina. Duke's next outing will be at noon on Thursday in the quarterfinals of the Colonial Athletic Association Championship. Now, those two victories last week tacked on consecutive wins, number 16 and 17 in a row to close out the regular season, the longest winning streak under head coach Kenny Brooks with the Dukes, and this is his 14th year in the program. And when we go back and we kind of look back at this season, Kenny, one in which you were reinventing this team seemingly every other week or so. Quite the accomplishment. How do you feel about the gratification of the 17-game winning streak going into this CA tournament?
I feel really good about the situation, and it's a testament to, our kids, number one, the coaching staff who has worked diligently, just making sure, our training staff that is getting everybody together. So it was definitely a collective effort, but just, going into the season, you don't know a whole lot. You're reinventing yourself throughout the season, and the kids just adjusted beautifully, on the fly, whatever we were talking about, getting production from certain areas that we needed, and we did so. It was just a tremendous regular season, and I'm very proud of this group. And they couldn't have done it without the chemistry that they displayed throughout the season. It's probably is the most cohesive group that I've ever had. Just the way that they really take up for each other, cover for each other, play for each other. It's probably not my most talented group but that I've ever had, but it's probably the closest knit group that I've ever had. And the way that they play for each other just really shows on the court, the way they've been able to overcome, adversity off the court, but also even if we face adversity on the court, for instance, like we did at Drexel and several other games, they really come through and they've learned and they play hard, play well for each other.
One of the things that helps in the progression of a season is watching the development of players, and you say all coaches just get better and focus on yourself. But one of the things I've enjoyed, Coach, and I'm sure the JMU fans have as well, is the impact that the likes of Griffin has had on the program, and seemingly consistently improving each week. And now we're seeing Destiny Jones, after the injury early, that she's making some progress there as well. It all seems to be coming together at the right time with the personnel.
It really does, and I think it has to do with the culture that we have here at JMU. And you have to earn your opportunities, and these kids aren't just thrust into this position because they're next in line or we don't have anyone else. They're thrust into these opportunities because they've earned it. And to earn my trust, to earn it, you have to go through a series of obstacles. You have to come in, you have to be ready to sacrifice for the team in all areas. You have to come in, you have to be in tip-top shape. You have to be mentally tough. And these two kids in particular that you're speaking about, they had a bumpy road in the beginning. Bumpy road, just trying to get to that level where we could trust them fully. And I think both of them have cemented themselves into those roles. We put Dee out there, and Dee's Player of the Week this week. Very, very well deserved. I think she's an unsung hero in this league on our team. And I got tickled. She played extremely well against Delaware on Wednesday night. Played extremely well on Saturday against College of Charleston. Got us off to a great start. I think she had a couple threes, and I think there was about 10 people at the game, so you could hear everything going on during the game. And they were alluding to her. They were like, shoot her in the corner, shoot her in the corner. And I looked in the corner, and I was like, that's Dee. But she's expanded her game so much that, people are respecting her three-point shot as much as her rebounding prowess. And I'm just very, very proud of her. And then Destiny Jones, Destiny was not even traveling with us in the beginning of the season. Because she was nursing an injury and really had to find herself and try to find out whether or not she was ready to sacrifice at this level to become an integral part of our team. And she did so. And she fought. And, even when she came back and we thought she was looking good, we felt like she still needed to earn her position, and we didn't even put her in the rotation for a while. And then when she got her opportunity to play, I think it was at Hofstra, we knew that we were going to need her toughness and that experience down the stretch in order for us to be the type of team that can win a championship. And she's displayed that and really helped us in a lot of different areas, and it's going to be a big part. I think the last couple of games, she's actually had double figures in scoring off the bench for us. So just added punch off the bench, experience for us, and makes us a very deep basketball team.
Once you've played 12 games, you're only 2 games above 500 at 7-5 at that time. You know, a couple of weeks ago, hold that thought. A couple of weeks ago, I was congratulating you on reaching the 20-win milestone, and you were kind of like, well, you know, we really want to hit 24. That's our new 20. You've now hit 24. Did you think that was going to be possible when you were 7-5 back in December?
You know what? To be very honest, at that point, we weren't even thinking about it. I knew that this was going to be a different task, and we knew we had to just better ourselves in the moment and not worry about what was going to happen down the line. And I felt like after that fifth loss, and we were at William & Mary, I felt like we grew up a lot because down the stretch, we should have won that basketball game. Muff Mickens misses a layup with under a minute to go and could have put us up by 6. You win that game. If you win that game, I don't know if you still go undefeated, you know, because I thought we had lessons learned during that basketball game. Muff knew that she needed to take better control of end of the game situations. Jasmine knew that she needed to demand the basketball down the stretch. And because of that game, I think they really learned a lot, and it really propelled us to finish the season 17-0. But at that moment, you know, I wasn't, you know, wondering if we were going to get to 24 wins. I was just really wondering if we were going to be good next week. And the kids really bought in, fought through adversity. Even after that, you know, when Ashley went down and missed, I think, 9 or 10 games, we just kept continuing to get better and better and better, regardless who we were playing or who was on the floor. And as a result, that's what's made this year so special. And you know, we have a lot of basketball left to play, but as we reflect back just on the regular season portion of our schedule, I'm very proud of this group and what they've accomplished. And you know, it's been a very enjoyable season.
Certainly more work to be done as the Dukes go into the CA Championship Tournament. Again, Thursday afternoon at noon will be their first contest. It's in the quarterfinals. I'm going to open it up to other members of the media that are with us here this afternoon. We're at O'Neill's Grill on University Boulevard.
Coach, obviously, as Kurt mentioned, you guys had to adjust and adjust. How have all those, you know, experiences of, you know, dealing with injury kind of made you extremely prepared for the postseason?
Well, I mean, everyone's had to, you know, be a little bit more of themselves. That's something I've talked about since day one, since Precious went down. You know, I would have liked for someone to be Precious, but it wasn't, you know, feasible for somebody to be Precious. Precious is Precious. She's special for a reason. And I didn't want anybody to come out and say, okay, I got to fill her role. You know, we just needed a little bit more Jasmine to be Jasmine. You know, we needed Muff to be a little bit more of Muff. You know, Ashley to be a little bit more of Ashley. And it didn't stop there. We needed Haley to be a little bit more of Haley, you know, so on and so forth. And I think that's exactly what happened. You know, they found their niche. They found their roles, performed them extremely well. Even, you know, when we had, you know, Ashley's injury go down, she went down, I thought Haley became, I mean, just super confident, played extremely well, helped us continue to keep rolling. And now when you get Ashley back, you know, Haley's a big part of what we're doing. You know, she didn't shoot the ball particularly well on Saturday, and she was upset. And I said, why are you upset? You know, you do so many other things for us, you know. And so we've had kids step up. You know, Kayla Cooper-Williams, you know, she, you know, developed into that anchor on the defensive end and really helps us go. Dee Griffin, as we mentioned before, you know, learning to shoot the basketball and being, you know, in good shape enough where she can play 28, 30 minutes during a basketball game. Destiny Jones coming along, Logan Reynolds' development. You know, so everyone has really stepped up and done exactly what we needed them to do throughout the regular season, and therefore that's why we're 24-5 right now.
As we enter the CAA tournament, if you could give us your assessment on the strength of the league this year compared to other years at this point.
I think that it's a little bit different. As we head into this year, I think teams are a little bit older, more experienced. You know, as we faced teams 2 years ago and last year, I thought we held a tremendous edge from an experience standpoint. You know, when you have a Nikki Newman and a Kirby Burkholder, and then you go down the line and you have. Now, you look at that team 2 years ago, we had the last 3 players of the year and then 2 defensive players of the year on that squad. So we were a dominant basketball team. Last year, I thought we were a dominant basketball team too. This year, the numbers haven't been as dominating, although they've still been dominating, but not as dominating years past. So I think as we head into the tournament, our margin of error is smaller, and so we're going to have to really focus on each and every possession, every game. You look across the country, whether it's men's basketball or women's basketball, and somewhere you see an 8 seed upset a number 1 seed, and every time I see that, my skin crawls, because the last CAA game I ever participated in, I was a number 1 seed, and we lost to number 8 seed Navy team, and so every year I bring that story up. I talk about it just so that kids will understand that you have to focus from the beginning. You can take no one lightly. This year is no exception. Our first round opponent's either going to be UNC Wilmington or College of Charleston, which we beat both teams by 30 plus in the last week. But we're going to focus on that game. We're not going to look to the next game overlooking that game, and that's what you have to do. You get down to an arena you've never played in that year. Anything can happen. Anything can happen, and the motto is survive and advance. You don't have to win pretty, you just have to win. And we have to make sure that we get a win as we continue on, and that's going to be our mindset.
If I may pose a couple quick questions to you as Dad Brooks. I'm sure by now you've seen Kendall perform from Saturday's game, and it's no secret that won't be her last time on that floor. How would you evaluate how she did on Saturday?
I tell you what, I couldn't be more proud. It was a good week leading up. We spent a lot of daddy-daughter time, and we talked about things, what she needed to do and how she needed to look, what shot she needed to look for, and we got to get some shots up. So it was a lot of fun, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine the first half that she was going to have. And we had just finished our game, and I was all hunkered down. I thought I was going to be able to watch the game. A parent was trying to stream it via Periscope. But it froze in the convo, so I couldn't see it. And then I just got a barrage of texts from friends, from people, whoever that were at the game, my wife, and they just kept saying, Kendall hits a 3, Kendall hits a 3, Kendall hits another 3, Kendall hits another 3. And if you can imagine, I'm getting them from like 7 different people, and I'm like just wondering, how many did she hit? How many is that? And so finally I had to get my wife to clarify how many, because I kept thinking that it was the same text being sent through and through and through. Kendall hits another 3. But it was, I had chill bumps from all the way from Charleston, South Carolina. And at the same time, I had, a little bit of sadness because I wasn't there. And so, but I'm very, very proud of her. As I watched the film, and I made sure, as a point guard, I made sure that my middle daughter, Chloe, got a lot of credit too, because she seemed to be assisting on almost all of the shots. And even Chloe said Kendall had it going, so I was just looking for her. And so very, very proud of both of those young ladies and the whole Spotswood, team and what they've accomplished. And, they're hungry. They're hungry. They have 2 more to go. And hopefully I won't be able to see those 2 because we'll be playing on Friday and Saturday, hopefully. But it's tough as a dad to have to miss some of those opportunities. But technology, we have film, we get to watch it, and I was able to watch the film with both of them last night.
And I believe they're trying to do something that you weren't able to do as a young player in the Valley. I guess what would do your daughters hold that over your head that they're close to doing something that you weren't able to do? And I guess overall, what would that mean to you as the Brooks family to bring back that title?
When you're in your household and they have to pretty much do what you say, your legend can grow and grow and grow. So they hear that I was a lot better basketball player than I actually was. So I tell them that I was really good. And, sometimes some old timers will come up and tell them, your daddy did this or your daddy did that. But we talk about them. And even when they made the transition to Spotswood, we knew it was going to be an opportunity for them to be on a bigger stage. And, you look at Kendall's situation, and, her previous school, she was able to pretty much shoot whenever and scored a lot of points. But it just didn't win a lot of basketball games. And then coming to Spotswood, she sacrificed a lot as far as, shooting, which was good because she learned how to win, learned how to be a winner. And, so we talk all the time. And even though I had a really good basketball career here in the Valley, we never made it to states. That's one of the things that I talked to them about. And we even talked about it extensively last year when they seemed they were down in the dumps when they lost in the quarterfinals or regionals. And I said, look, you need to work hard. It's something I never was able to do. I probably said that right after I told them to clean their room, but that's what they hung on to. They didn't clean their room. They hung on to, Daddy never went to the state championship, so that's what we're going to, get to motivate us, which is fantastic. But they've been hungry all year, and it's been a lot of fun for us in the household, this year, just watching their success and our success. And it doesn't stop there. I was at the UREC all day yesterday watching my youngest play, and so it's been a lot. It's been a really good year in the Brooks household.
Coach, you talked about the adjustments your team had to make from game to game. But let's talk about your staff, how you had to adjust as a staff, and what did you guys learn about your team going through these adjustments as a staff?
A lot. We went into the season, and we knew we had to invent ourselves, and we knew we were going to have to reinvent ourselves continuously. And, credit to my staff. They do a fantastic job. They work diligently. I think the cornerstone of our program is individual improvement. And, I get out there with the kids, but, my staff's out there continuously. Whenever a kid wants to come in and get some extra work in, the staff is always there to accommodate those situations. That doesn't always happen across the country. And I think that's how we can coach our kids up. You look at Kayla Cooper-Williams' development, it wasn't by accident. It was by a lot of hard work. And even Jasmine Gwathmey and Angela Mickens, when they're seniors and they walk in and they say, hey, Coach, can I get a couple of extra shots up? We abide by that. We want them to do that. We encourage that. And therefore, when they get out on the court, they're going to be extremely confident. So it was just really instilling confidence in the kids, throughout the season, as well as some toughness, because we learned a lot along the way. We went out to UCLA and we played UCLA, and that was the longest game in my career. And I mean, that game, I looked up and we were down by 25 or so, and I think we had like 20 minutes left in the game, and I was like, this is going to be crazy. But we grew so much since that point, and we continue to grow every game, and they never became satisfied or complacent, and I think that's the big reason why we've been able to continue to get better and better and better, because they're not complacent. If you go and tell them that they won 17 in a row, they'll look at you and it's like, okay, well, it's not the championship. And I think that keeps them hungry, and we keep motivating them, and they understand what's the big prize.
In asking them to be more themselves, did you discover there were abilities there that maybe you as a staff didn't recognize that they had initially bringing them in?
Yes and no. We knew, I've said this before, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but I've always said that Jasmine Gwathmey is the most talented kid I've ever had in this program. Just never displayed it in that manner. And when Precious went down, she had to. And that's what we meant about just be you, but just be a little bit more of you. Angela Mickens, it's well documented. I took her game, stripped it down from a scoring point guard to make her become a facilitator. And then all of a sudden, I had to make her go back to being that scorer. So I knew she could do it. I just needed her to be a little bit more of herself. Ashley Perez did a fantastic job last year of just blending in, when I knew she was a better player than her 9 points a game. But now I needed her to be a little bit more of herself, and now she boosted her scoring average to 14, and we knew she could do that. And it goes on and on and on. And then we had some developments from our younger kids, and that's what we meant. That's what we meant, just be a little bit more of you. They never questioned that, and even if it was a trick question, and they never questioned it. And they just went out and they did it. They understood it, and they went out and they did it, and they didn't try to go out and be something that they weren't. They just play a little bit harder and try to be a little bit more of themselves.
Do some of these struggles and kind of overcoming some of this stuff, has that made you a stronger postseason team? Are you eager to see how you play? Has that maybe prepared you in any way?
I think it has. I think it really has. We played some very tough competition early. As I mentioned, UCLA. Going to St. Bonaventure, there might not be a big name, but that's a hard trip. And, going there, and they've had a lot of success this season. And then the Florida trip is where I thought we grew up. I thought we grew up and we became a team. I knew we were going to be a team to be reckoned with. And as a matter of fact, the Baylor coach, she when she shook my hand at the end of the game, she was like, "That's the way teams play. That's the way teams should play. You guys play really hard. Go win your championship, and maybe we'll see you guys in the tournament." I don't know about all that. I didn't want to see them again, but it was a big compliment that I thought she gave us. But I do. I think that we're battle tested. We still have to get through this tournament so we can get an opportunity. But I think that lies in the hands of the NCAA. If we're fortunate enough to get there, what kind of seed you're going to get, because I think that's going to really determine your success, for any program, matchups and how you do, there. But I think that we're definitely a team. We had an AP writer at our Delaware game, and he looked at me and eyeball test. We're an NCAA caliber basketball team. Now what they do as far as looking at your resume, to determine that. But we're definitely a team that can get in a situation. And I've had some talks with some BCS coaches, and sometimes with all the bracketology, we might get paired up with one of them, and they all say we don't want to play you guys in the beginning, and so I think that's just a credit to your program and what everybody understands who you are and the capabilities that you have.
Do you ever worry that having Jasmine being that heavy scorer for you guys, a bad game, is that all of a sudden turn into a close game for you guys if she has an off
No,
night?
well, no, well, yes, but I think my fears were put to rest a little bit on Wednesday night. She played probably her worst game of the season. She had 6 points. She just looked like she was a little bit out of it, and she was a little bit frustrated. But needless to say, going into the fifth place team's house on senior day, Jasmine Guathme plays probably her worst game of the season. We still come away with a 22, 23-point victory. And we had so many other people step up and play extremely well. And we're built. I mean, we can do the pretty stuff. If you actually look at that game, Muff Mickens threw a pass she threw out 4 of them that were unbelievable. But she threw one that I promise you, for 10 seconds, I forgot that I was the coach at James Madison University. I thought I was a fan, jumping up and down. And when she did it, they called a timeout. And I was beside myself. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that was a great pass. I think I told her that like 5 times. And then I had to compose myself and, okay, I got to coach a game. But we can play pretty. We can hit the 3. We can fast break it. We had a couple times in that game where Delaware scored, and we clocked it. And from inbound to the ball going through the net, it took 4 seconds for us to score. All right, so we can score in a variety of ways. You want to sit back and play us in a zone? Okay, it might not be as pretty, but we're effective. We're effective enough, and we can do it. So, and then we can win a basketball game with our offensive rebounding. We can win a basketball game with our defense. I think our defense is underrated. I really do, because we're out and we're holding people down. We rank nationally in so many different categories defensively. So I think that we're prepared. Anything can happen. I understand that, but I think we're prepared if Jasmine doesn't have a great game, that we can win other ways. And one of the things I always say is, doesn't matter where you go, defense always travels. If we play good defense, we'll give ourselves a chance to win.
Just have one more, I guess. You said this team isn't the most talented. When you get this much out of a team, is that more satisfying for a coach?
I mean, I'm extremely satisfied with the effort that they give us each and every day. I go to practice, and they're so much fun to be around. They're a loose group. They come, and when it's ready time to play, they play. And they play extremely well. They play really hard. We've had compliments all throughout the CAA, whether it's other fans or, even referees will say, you guys play so hard. You're a close-knit group. So very, very proud of this group, what they've overcome, how they've come together, how they've stepped up. I can coach for another 30 years and, still may go down as one of the most tight-knit group that I've ever had. And it definitely will be one of the years. I mean, you look at the last 3 years that we've accomplished and what we've accomplished. And I think somebody put up a graphic, and I think it said we were like 80-something and 15. And I looked at it, and I had to do a double take because I'm like, that's not right. And then I pulled out my iPhone and pulled up the calculator, and it was right. Yeah. So it's been special, and it's not only been special because of the years. I mean, the actual record, but the kids. The kids I've had the last 3 years, that they've been unbelievable in what they've formed and what they're going to do to propel JMU women's basketball even further into the future because of the foundation that they've laid. As far as chemistry and hard work and whatnot, it's just unbelievable, and I'm very, very happy and very proud.
Coach, I got a couple of other things. First of all, a little fun here. Of course, it is March Madness, and the JMU men's basketball managers are now in the playoffs. They're going up in the virtual world against VCU. Have you voted on Twitter yet?
I have not, but
Okay.
I will. As soon as I get off of here, I will vote.
You need to do that. The Dukes need to be about 56%, I believe, to win the 56% vote so they can outlast VCU. So fans, make sure you go out on Twitter and vote there for the JMU men's basketball
I tell you
managers.
what, the men's basketball managers, they're a lot of fun. I actually was working late one night, and they were playing against Towson
Yes.
managers, and I thought they were just going to have a little pickup game. I mean, they were serious. They had clock going, and they were into the game situations. A lot of fun what they're doing.